This page is the vibrant cover of Beep, Powerful Mega Magazine, specifically the November 1989 Autumn Extra issue, priced at 480 yen. The artwork features a surreal, colorful composition, with a character in a tuxedo playing a guitar in front of a large yellow sun, surrounded by various cartoon figures and abstract shapes. The cover highlights several key features within the magazine. It celebrates the first anniversary of the Sega Mega Drive's release in Japan. A major draw is the special appendix, a comprehensive map and strategy guidebook for the game Herzog II. The issue also features a special project discussing Vermilion vs. Traumaton, noting their current popularity in both movies and games. Furthermore, the cover prominently advertises an unprecedented new title rush, with a huge introduction to major releases like Golden Axe, Carnage, Truxton, Tatsujin, and The Revenge of Shinobi, Super Shinobi. Finally, there's a mention of the Mega Drive Academy Awards Even Festival, suggesting coverage of the best games of the year. The magazine declares itself a bi-monthly publication preparatory issue, indicating a potential shift in its publishing schedule. This page showcases a powerful lineup of Sega Mega Drive titles set to launch this winter. Featured prominently are 3 highly anticipated games. Mahjong Cop Ryu puts a dramatic spin on the classic game, with adventure, versus, and quiz modes, challenging players to foil the White Wolf's ambition. Next is Vermilion, a fantasy action RPG focusing on a journey through unfolding first-person 3D dungeons, delivering the kind of adventure players expect. Lastly, Nihon Falcom's acclaimed action RPG Sorcerian arrives, featuring its distinctive concept of time progression and rich, interconnected scenarios, complete with a backup function. Presented as significant releases, these games are slated for December 1989 and February 1990, with prices ranging from approximately 5,500 to 8,500 yen. This page bursts with excitement, declaring, "Can't wait! It's decided with Eve." It showcases the power of the Sega Mega Drive and its upcoming lineup, highlighting 2 major titles. First up is the legendary Golden Axe, an epic fantasy beat-em-up, allowing players to wield magic and battle through vibrant levels with animated, distinct characters, as shown in the action-packed screenshots. This arcade classic was slated for a December 23rd release. Also featured is Moondancer, Return of the Fairy King, an adventure game based on a popular serialized novel from Beep magazine. This title, the second part of the story, is an RPG with a backup function, set for a March 1990 launch. The page also promotes the Mega Drive console itself, emphasizing its 16-bit might that the era demanded. It boasts advanced visuals, blistering speed, and a powerful sound system combining FM, PSG, and PCM sources to deliver a truly shocking gaming experience, available at 21,000 yen. This page announces Heavy Unit, a horizontal scrolling shooter set for release in spring, with the price yet to be determined. It highlights a unique promotion centered around a sound charger and a limited edition Dolby Surround CD. Only 1,000 copies pressed. This CD is presented as a power-up item for the game's sound environment, specifically enhancing sound effects when the game is played with the sound charger connected, aiming to create a fully immersive, 3-dimensional sound space in your room. The text hypes surprising arrangements included on the CD. Gamers had a chance to win the sound charger through a lottery by applying as detailed in the application section, with the deadline in late December. The page features the game title, images of the Mega Drive console, controller, and the promotional CD, emphasizing the game's audio ambitions powered by Dolby Surround technology. Toho is listed as the publisher. This page features the striking cover art for the Sega Mega Drive title, Biohazard Battle, known in Japan as Bio-Infernal, Challenge to Hell Final Mission. The artwork showcases a powerful, heavily armored mecha, dominating the frame and holding a large firearm, set against a dark background, hinting at the intense action within this horizontal scrolling shoot-'em-up. This particular image serves purely as promotional art for the game, highlighting the detailed robotic design characteristic of the genre. The Mega Drive logo is prominently displayed, confirming the platform. This page showcases the intense horizontal shooting action of Micronet's Sega Mega Drive title, Cure. The striking cover art dominates the right side, featuring a mysterious pale face, and the game's title emblazoned in fiery letters, hinting at the challenging gameplay. On the left, 3 distinct screenshots offer a glimpse into diverse environments. Stage 1 takes us through the lush, perilous Seneca's forest. Stage 2 pits you against a formidable boss in the sky above Seneca, and Stage 4 launches you into the vastness of space with a futuristic mech. The page positions Cure as a significant entry in the shooting genre, presented directly from developer Micronet to the player. This page continues the introduction to Micronet's intense horizontal shooting game, Cure, announcing its scheduled release in late December. Described as a masterpiece in the making, the game tasks players with protecting the peaceful yet bewildered planet Seneca through fierce, stage-by-stage battles. You'll need to strategically utilize a variety of power-up items to overcome your enemies. The text highlights the beautiful graphics, sound, and speed unique to the Mega Drive, promising a world that feels distinct from previous television games. The game supports one player, is 4 megabits, and has a retail price of 6,800 yen, excluding tax, presenting the world of Cure directly to the player. This page is all about Atomic Robo Kid, Treco's action-packed title for the Sega Mega Drive. It's presented as a major upgrade to the popular arcade original, bringing the thrilling speed, jumping, and shooting action right into your home. The game throws you into a massive underground labyrinth in a desperate battle for humanity's survival after a devastating war. You play as Atomic Robo Kid, a unique little robot tasked by the mother computer to penetrate the treacherous maze and rescue Even from a submerged shelter. The page highlights the game's maze-like levels, diverse graphics, and memorable characters. 2 screenshots showcase the side-scrolling gameplay and the distinct visual style. It's announced as being on sale today, promising an exhilarating experience, licensed directly by Sega. This page features 2 exciting upcoming titles for the Sega Mega Drive. First up is Shiju Seidai no Sukoban, the latest iteration of the classic puzzle series, simply known as Sokoban. Promoted as the greatest Sokoban in history, this version boasts a massive 250 stages to challenge players, along with welcomed edit and training modes. The artwork depicts stacks of boxes, fitting for the puzzle game, where your task is to push crates into designated spots. 2 small screenshots show the grid-based gameplay, though that. We have Assault Suit Lanos, released internationally as Target Earth. This is a high-tension action shooting game focused on intense robot combat. The description highlights its realistic approach, multi-directional scrolling, and vast immersive battlefields designed to pull players into the action. This game promises exhilarating mecha battles. This page highlights the work of acclaimed composer Yuzo Koshiro, announcing his album dedicated to the music of Sega's The Super Shinobi, known internationally as The Revenge of Shinobi. The page features striking artwork of the game's ninja protagonist, alongside photos of Koshiro himself. The album, titled The Super Shinobi and Works, includes the original game score, arranged versions, and other selected works by Koshiro. In a commentary section, Koshiro reflects on the challenge of creating music for the Sega Mega Drive hardware, and his desire to bring unique and surprising elements into game music, describing his style as wanting to be sometimes hot, cool, and even flirtatious. He mentions the technical differences between the Mega Drive's sound capabilities and other systems he worked with, suggesting fans might find it interesting to compare the different versions of the tracks. The album was released on December 21st. This page showcases covers and content summaries for 3 issues of Beep! Mega Drive magazine. The autumn 1989 issue prominently features a Mega Drive vs. Super Famicom showdown on its cover, highlighting a key rivalry. Inside, it covers exploration games, a deep dive into Twilight Zone, a passionate Mega Drive declaration, new game releases for the autumn, a feature on the VG Brothers, a hands-on guide to modifying an RGB cable, and even a look at the Mega Drive modem. The summer 1989 special issue continues the passionate Mega Drive theme with another manifesto. Articles include a story feature on Phantasy Star IV, a look at the month's new releases, the VG Brothers return, a new project, strategies for Dreamcast, a B-Mega sound report, and new ongoing series on RPGs, technology trends, and updates from California. The June 1989 supplement focuses on mastering specific games. It delves into Phantasy Star II as the ultimate RPG, provides strategies for new software including Super League Baseball, Super Robot Wars, Last Battle, Super Thunderblade, and Space Harrier 2. It also includes the latest info from Sega and reports on participating manufacturers, highlighting Thunder Force 2 MD as a masterpiece of the shooting game genre. This page is the contents page for the November 1989 issue, highlighting the latest and greatest on the Mega Drive platform. It kicks off with the new release Scramble, a feature covering a range of recent titles including arcade hits like Afterburner 2 and the acclaimed RPG Phantasy Star IV, alongside titles such as Air Diver, Assault Suits, Lanos, Atomic Robot Kid, and Zoom. The B-Mega Hot Menu section delves into more hot topics in games like Sorcerian, giving readers the lowdown on popular titles. A major focus is the new release Thorough Master series, broken down into 5 parts, providing in-depth guides and analysis for significant releases. Part 1 covers the pioneering RTS Herzog Zwei. Part 2 tackles the legendary beat-em-up Golden Axe, a screenshot of which is prominently displayed. Part 3 dives into the RPG Vermilion. Part 4 masters the intense shooter Truxton, Tatsujin. And Part 5 provides the ultimate guide to the classic action platformer The Revenge of Shinobi. Finally, there's a special feature celebrating the first anniversary of the Mega Drive's release with an Academy Awards Even Festival. The page also features a screenshot of a game, likely Golden Axe, and another screenshot which appears to be from a vertical shooter, possibly Space Harrier 2 or similar. This page is the comprehensive contents listing for the issue, laying out a diverse range of features and columns. A major special feature pits Ultraman against Batman, exploring these iconic heroes, and likely their presence in video games. The page also highlights a report from an AM show, split into sections covering both games and the manufacturers driving the industry, delving into the latest video game trends. There's an in-depth analysis of the puzzle game phenomenon Sokoban, specifically highlighting the greatest Sokoban in history. Coverage extends beyond the Mega Drive platform, with a thorough research piece on next competing console, the P-Engine Supergraphs. A notable feature announces the return of the popular character Mega Man, referred to here as Megadoraemon 9X, appearing in a new comic series. The contents list itself reveals a variety of regular columns and sections, including news updates, international reports, humorous columns, game industry insights, sound-related features, RPG journey logs, technology trend reports, video game reviews, and a comparison of the Atari Lynx handheld console against its rival, the Game Boy, accompanied by an image of the Lynx. The page concludes with details on sales charts, game strategy guides, specifically for pinball, and reader giveaways, promising a packed issue covering multiple facets of the gaming world. This page introduces a unique system called Brain Mind Gym Psychic, presented as exciting entertainment news. It's described not as a physical gym, but one for training the mind and spirit using a machine called the Synchro Energizer. This device employs light-emitting diodes in goggles and pulse sounds and music through headphones to stimulate the area around the eyes and hearing, promoting relaxation, creativity, and stress relief. The article details that the system offers 7 different program modes, including relaxation, sleep, creativity, concentration, meditation, pain reduction, and a new form of AVI entertainment that evolves abstract images into concrete ones. Users can select the program best suited to their needs, like choosing relaxation for stress, or the entertainment program for a new sensory experience. The reviewer tried the relaxation program and notes that the images seen can vary greatly from person to person, sometimes just being white light. The system setup is shown in the image at the bottom, featuring reclining chairs in a dark room where users wear the goggles and headphones. The piece suggests that even those experienced in mind control techniques like yoga can easily use this system without needing special training. It's likened somewhat to displaying graphics synced to sound, similar to some Amiga software. This page continues the report on the Brain Mind Gym Psychic, detailing its locations in Roppongi, Tokyo, and Osaka, along with the cost to experience this unique mind training system. However, the main event here is the unveiling of next new console, the P-Engine Supergraphs. This is presented as a direct challenge to the Mega Drive, boasting superior graphics capabilities. The article introduces the SuperGraphics as an upgraded, backward-compatible version of the original PC engine, specifically designed to enhance graphical performance. It highlights the release title, Ghouls and Ghosts, Daima Kaimura, noting that it's an 8-megabit room and praising its detailed backgrounds and graphics, which rival the arcade original. The page also shows the console itself, a screenshot from Ghouls and Ghosts, showcasing the detailed visuals, and a prototype of a specialized controller, suggesting enhanced gameplay options are on the horizon. The tone is excited, emphasizing the graphical power this new machine brings to the table. The next page brings us a report from America, detailing the ever-changing landscape of the console wars. It highlights a significant blow to the Sega Master System in the US, with major third-party developers like Activision and Parker Brothers pulling their support following the launch of the Genesis. This means fewer original American games for Master System owners. The report also covers the Atari Lynx handheld, noting its features and pricing, suggesting it could potentially rival the Super Nintendo in the future, despite its current status. Intriguingly, there are whispers of a 16-bit model for the PC Engine, even though the current TurboGrafx 16 is technically 8-bit, but marketed differently. The page also mentions a British-developed 16-bit machine. The Konix Multisystem is in the works. Visually, we see images related to these developments, including a prototype console setup, a conceptual drawing of a gaming seat designed for enhanced immersion, a driving controller, and screenshots from a driving game, and the Amiga flight simulator, Falcon, shown in the bonus section. The report captures the rapid evolution and competition in the console market at the time. This page presents a new release scramble, previewing upcoming games. The main focus is on Afterburner 2, specifically the Mega Drive port, handled by Elektra Denpa. The reviewer expresses anticipation for this version, noting its potential growth beyond previous ports like the Famicom and After System. Unfortunately, Mega Drive screenshots weren't ready for this issue, so the preview uses images from the X68000 version as a substitute. Another preview covers Fire Kikan from Hot B. Described as a game for fans of Double Dragon and Street Fighter, it's a fighting game with a unique cast of characters, noted for their comical designs. Gameplay features punches and kicks, with special moves unlocked by items, including a super jab. The review highlights that the Mega Drive version will include new original techniques. The screenshots showcase the distinctive character lineup and what appears to be in-game combat. This page features previews of two upcoming Sega Mega Drive titles. First up is Target Earth, known as Juso Kihei Reinosu in Japan, a science fiction shooter from Messiah, NCS. Set for a late February release, the game boasts a strong SF setting and a cohesive story spanning its 8 stages, moving beyond the typical stage-by-stage format. The narrative begins on Jupiter's moon Ganymede, leading the player's armor suit team through various combat zones, including space battles, atmospheric entry, and colony skirmishes, capturing the feel of SF anime. Screenshots showcase intense space combat involving mechs and spacecraft. Also previewed is Air Diver from Asmik, scheduled for a spring release. This game is a 3D dogfight shooter with simulation elements, drawing comparisons to Afterburner. Players pilot an F-119 stealth fighter and engage in realistic air-to-air combat from a detailed cockpit view. The game features strategic elements like selecting combat zones from a world map and the objective of destroying enemy carriers while ensuring a safe return to friendly forces. Screenshots highlight the aircraft's details, the realistic cockpit display, and the world map interface for mission selection. While initially planned for December, the delay to spring is noted, but production is reportedly smooth, building anticipation for its release. This page provides an exciting first look at the highly anticipated Phantasy Star IV, Generations of Doom for the Mega Drive. Following over a year after Phantasy Star II, this Sega original RPG promises a grand adventure. The story is ambitious, spanning 3 generations, with player choices heavily influencing the narrative and leading to multiple endings. The protagonist's journey begins as Prince Rise, and his path will shape the lineage and the world. The party system allows for up to 5 members, but interestingly, not all members will always obey commands in battle. Their actions are influenced by a trust level system with the player, where high trust leads to helpful actions and low trust can cause problems. This adds a dynamic layer to character relationships and gameplay. The game's music, BGM, is also highlighted, changing dynamically based on the party's state, such as being in battle, moving, or their emotional well-being. This is linked to character emotions and the trust system, enhancing the immersive RPG experience. Illustrations show a battle sequence, a character reacting negatively to a trust issue, characters enjoying/reacting to music, and a screenshot of the first-person 3D dungeon view that users are eagerly awaiting. There's also speculation about the return of characters from previous Phantasy Star titles. The article emphasizes the deep connection to Phantasy Star I and II, and hopes for a magnificent world that improves upon the previous games. Sega is encouraged to do their best. This page gives us an exciting preview of Atomic Robo Kid for the Genesis. Originally an arcade hit, this port is being handled by Treco, and isn't just a simple conversion, adding new elements and expanding on the story. The game puts you in control of a cute robot on a critical mission to awaken humans who have been in cold sleep. You'll need to navigate maze-like stages, destroying enemies blocking your path to reach the goal and proceed. Atomic RoboKid comes equipped with 4 distinct weapon types: the diagonal 2-way, the standard 3-way spread, the wide burst 5-way, and the powerful exploding missile. Each weapon has unique characteristics and tactical applications, requiring players to strategically switch between them depending on the situation, adding a layer of depth to the classic run-and-gun gameplay. The stages are visually diverse, with unique enemies, challenging mid-bosses, and imposing large bosses. With a total of 25 stages, there's plenty of action to explore, urging players to see what awaits in the final confrontation. The article even takes a friendly jab at the PC Engine version, encouraging the Genesis port to stand out. Screenshots showcase the action, including the robot hero, various enemies, and the effects of the different weapons. This page continues the look at Atomic RoboKid for the Genesis, shifting focus to the enemies and overall difficulty. Despite the adorable main character and comical enemy designs shown in screenshots, the game is surprisingly tough, especially navigating the maze-like stages and dealing with strong opponents. The reviewer notes a frustration with the enemy's power but acknowledges the appeal. The game is still in development, but the progress is highlighted as exciting. The page also introduces Zoom! Quote, a thrilling puzzle game coming to the Genesis from Sega in January. Originally an American PC title, this port is seen as a welcome puzzle offering among the Genesis lineup. The game features a unique character, a ball with legs, that players move to draw lines on a grid of panels in space. The goal is to enclose areas, which changes their color, and clear sections. You'll need to avoid enemies that appear, while power-ups like score bonuses and a clock that freezes enemies add strategy. A fast-paced gameplay is described as comfortable and hints at a potential smash hit. Screenshots illustrate the grid-based gameplay and the character in action. This page kicks off the Be Mega Hot menu section, highlighting exciting upcoming releases. The main feature is Sorcerian for the Sega Genesis. It's introduced as a side-scrolling action RPG from Nihon Falcom, stemming from the classic Dragon Slayer series. The article notes that Jam Oji-san, a well-known figure, will provide an in-depth look at this highly anticipated port. The unique aspect of Sorcerian, emphasized here, is its gameplay flow. Unlike many traditional RPGs, such as Phantasy Star II, where movement and battle occur on separate screens, shown clearly in comparative screenshots, Sorcerian seamlessly integrates action and exploration on a single horizontal scrolling view. You'll be casting spells and fighting enemies directly on the map. The game supports a party of up to 4 characters, and is said to offer a distinct atmosphere compared to other action RPGs like The Legend of Zelda or YS. The page briefly showcases examples of past action RPGs with screenshots from Zelda, YS, and the Tower of Druaga. Sorcerian is slated for a February release by Sega. This page delves deeper into Sorcerian for the Sega Genesis, highlighting its core features. The game boasts a unique structure with 10 scenarios, including 8 from the original PC version and 2 console exclusives. This episodic design allows for clearing individual quests relatively quickly, which the reviewer points out is a distinctive charm. Character creation is extensive, offering 4 races and a staggering 60 professions, each impacting stats and potentially required for specific scenarios. While this might seem tedious to some, the article suggests it's a genuinely fun element once you get into it. Another notable aspect is the generational system. Unlike typical RPGs where leveling is instant, character growth is tied to time passing during training or enchanting items. Characters age and eventually retire or pass away, but their experience and items can be inherited by new adventurers, creating a continuous lineage. The article specifically praises the Genesis version's appeal, citing 3 points: the enhanced graphics leveraging the hardware for impressive magic effects, the inclusion of Sega's original scenarios, singling out the Chinese medicine scenario as a well-executed addition not found in the original, and the excellent, exhilarating background music. Screenshots demonstrate the side-scrolling action gameplay and magic usage. The next page dives into 3 specific scenarios from Sorcerian. First up is Scenario 1, The Wizard's Apprentice. Set in a tranquil magic school suddenly overrun by monsters. This scenario is highlighted as ideal for beginners, focusing initially on investigation within the school, talking to students and staff like the old caretaker. Monsters don't appear until a specific puzzle is solved. Screenshots show classroom interactions and combat in the school hallways. Scenario 2 is the village of Eternal Spring, where a dragon has taken up residence in a nearby cave said to contain a vital guardian deity. The quest involves heading to the village elder's house for information, exploring the village, and then venturing to the mountain edge to find the dragon and follow it into its lair to retrieve the deity. Screenshots depict the village, the mountain path leading to the cave, and an encounter with the dragon. Finally, Scenario 3 is the SEGA-exclusive Chinese medicine. Set in China, the goal is to find a legendary youth-restoring medicine. This scenario boasts a unique Chinese aesthetic, featuring characters like a Tai Chi master and indigenous monsters such as monkeys and bamboo tigers. Exploring houses in the town is key to gathering information, and a girl at the medicine shop is noted as particularly important for future adventures. Visuals show the Chinese town setting and interior interactions. The next page continues the look at Sorcerian, detailing 3 more intriguing scenarios. First, Scenario 4, Sky Waterfall, sees dark clouds plaguing the land. Players must ride the flying ship Falcon into the sky to find the source. Multiple waterfalls. The goal is to seek out the old man in the mechanical room filled with gears to understand how to stop this phenomenon. Next is Scenario 5, Puppet Mansion, set in the peaceful village of Papet. The adventure begins when a girl's cherished doll goes missing. Players must find the girl, Minna, who is distraught over her loss, and then question the local puppet show performer for clues to the doll's whereabouts. Finally, Scenario 6, Grey Labyrinth, presents a dangerous maze created by the genius architect Antonov before his death. This labyrinth is now infested with monsters, driving people out. Players must solve the maze's many puzzles to seal it and restore safety. While this scenario was still under development at the time, the article highlights the high quality of graphics and sound evident in all scenarios, promising more details in a future issue. The page also includes commentary noting the strong performance of the Genesis system, boosted by hits like Ghouls and Ghosts and Altered Beast, and expresses a wish for Sorcerian to be translated and released in America, similar to how Japanese players enjoy Western RPGs like Ultima and Wizardry. There's also anticipation for a sequel, Sorcerian 2. This page introduces Curse, the debut Mega Drive title from PC software house Micronet. It's a hardcore horizontal scrolling shooter featuring an extensive power-up system. The article notes that Micronet, known for PC games like RPGs and Mahjong, making a shooter their first Genesis release was a surprise, especially since the genre wasn't overly common on the system at the time. The game features various power-ups obtained by collecting items. These include defensive options like the shield, which acts as a barrier consuming energy when hit, and the option, which are orbiting orbs that absorb enemy fire and attack. For offense, there's the screen-clearing bomb, different main weapons like the multidirectional laser and the penetrating wide beam, and tracking missiles. Some weapons can level up, and options can increase their attack power. Screenshots illustrate the ship, enemies, various weapon effects like the options and missiles, and different stage environments. The article mentions the anticipation for a horizontal shooter and notes a challenging aspect. The ship can be destroyed by touching the background, which impacts movement strategy. Despite some weapons being less useful, like the Clash, the core gameplay revolves around strategically collecting items to upgrade the ship's capabilities and survive the intense bullet patterns and environmental hazards. The feature covers the game up to Stage 5, promising a detailed look at the early levels and the diverse power-up mechanics. Curse, a Sega Mega Drive horizontal shooter, is structured around 5 stages, each featuring challenging enemies, a mid-boss, and a final boss. Success requires focus. The game includes a configuration mode, letting players customize their experience by selecting a starting stage, adjusting lives, and accessing a sound test. The article highlights the game's length and hidden elements, encouraging multiple playthroughs. Stage 1, Forest of Seneca, is the easiest, offering power-ups. Players are advised to choose a weapon early and focus on collecting the same one to increase its power, with the Blazer recommended. Environmental obstacles, like trees, exist, and the webbeam's ability to pass through them adds a layer of complexity to hazard identification. Curse's Stage 1 boss is a bird, best handled with the W weapon. Stage 2, Above Seneca, features layered scrolling and meteor patterns requiring memorization. The battleship mid-boss is easily defeated with the W weapon, while auto-targeting robots must be destroyed quickly. The Stage 2 boss is a multi-jointed dragon, vulnerable at its head. Stage 3, Valseria Advance Base, is a challenging, narrow stage, with lava, walls and sudden eyeball enemies and missile-firing turrets. Utilizing the wall weapon and observing enemy patterns, especially wall positions, are crucial for success. The reviewer highlights the Stage 2 mid-boss's cool design, the classic dragon boss, and the strangeness of the eyeball enemies. This page continues the guide for the shooter curse. It covers the remainder of the game, starting with the Stage 3 boss, which is a large creature with a visible core that acts as its weak point. Attacking while positioned near the lava makes it easier. Stage 4, the Space Pursuit Unit, is a high-speed section with lots of meteors and missile attacks, requiring strategic use of weapons and bombs. The boss here is a huge robot with a powerful gun, but there's a safe spot on the screen's bottom left where you are invulnerable, except when it transforms into a ship and body slams you. Stage 5 is the final stage inside the mothership. It features a mid-boss early on, narrow passages, and walls to avoid. Watch out for yellow pipes that are laser turrets. The final boss is described as grotesque. First, a segmented creature attacked at the tip, then it shoots lasers from its mouth which must be destroyed. Defeating this last boss brings peace. A small note on the side includes an apology from the Mega Drive editorial team regarding content in a previous issue's column. This page dives into the world of Moondancer, Return of the Fairy King on the Mega Drive. It introduces the game's protagonist, Ashirael, and explains that the story begins after he defeats Weavun, a being who previously controlled him. He receives guidance from Ruina, a messenger of light, to seek out Kurahan and the magic key needed to restore him. The journey starts with heading towards Luperon. The game is described as a unique blend of genres. ADG, adventure game, for its command-based progression. RPG for character skill and emotional point growth through battles. And SLG, simulation/strategy game, for the tactical combat scenes. The developers label it a fantasy emotion game, emphasizing their focus on portraying deep human emotions within the fantasy setting. An interesting mechanic highlighted is the progression of time within the game world. The system tracks time using months, M, days, D, hours, H, and shish units, where 1 meter is 12 days, 1 D is 28 hours, 1 H is 20 minutes, and 1 shish is 6 minutes. This time system affects the world, such as shops closing at night, and players can choose to advance time using a rest command to suit their needs. Screenshots display dialogue sequences, the world map, a grid-based battle scene, and the visual change from day to night in towns. This page provides more details on the game mechanics of Moondancer, Return of the Fairy King. It explains town navigation, showing various locations players can visit like the armor shop, inn, hospital, gemstone shop, and even the gate of the Lord's Mansion, where you can buy items, get information, or accept quests. The character status section details important attributes. Stats include stamina, also representing carrying weight, power, recovers by resting, attack/defense, affected by equipment, magic resistance, and speed. 2 unique features are highlighted: emotion, which can dramatically affect character relationships in battle, and combat skill, the primary stat increased by battle experience, allowing access to heavier weapons or different magic types. Magic proficiency is shown for various schools like fire, ice, earth, and light. The Let's Play section notes the game was still in development, limiting the depth of the preview. It suggests readers revisit previous issues for the story background. Screenshots display locations from the world map, including the town of Sen in the Argen Fief, Slavis in the Roldurian Fief, and the capital Simulgrunt in the Simulgrunt Kingdom. This page previews the Sega Mega Drive title, Mahjong Cop Ryu, Hakuru no Yabu, a hard-boiled adventure-style mahjong game set to release on December 14th for 5,800 yen. The game challenges players to crush the ambitions of the White Wolf. The article highlights the game's 3 distinct modes: the main adventure-style Mahjong Cop Ryu mode, which features a strong story, a versus Mahjong mode where you can select opponents from the game's characters, and a Qingyi mode, which is a Mahjong tile listening quiz. This variety sets it apart from typical Mahjong titles. The page also introduces 2 key characters involved in the narrative. Ryu, Described as a legendary first-generation Mahjong cop agent known for his skill and feared by Mahjong organizations, is brought back to rescue Ryuko and confront the White Wolf. Ryuko, a skilled current MJC agent who once crushed the Japanese branch of the White Wolf organization, was defeated in the current incident, but managed to send crucial information before her capture. Screenshots show the versus Mahjong opponent selection screen and a Mahjong tile setup for the King Yi quiz mode. This page features a Mega Hot menu, presenting several characters from the game Mahjong Cop Ryu. These characters are likely opponents you will face in the game's Mahjong battles. We are introduced to Jaraishi, boss of the White Wolf Syndicate, known for his cold personality and aggressive Mahjong style. Command Vinegar is a muscular man resembling Schwarzenegger, who enjoys playing Mahjong forcefully. Kamen Hender is described as a strange character resembling Kamen Rider Noridar and likes unusual weights. Shiraki Kaori is introduced as a beautiful older woman resembling Kuroki Kaori, who loves Mahjong and enjoys philosophical thought and beautiful handmade items. Sanba Tetsuru is a mysterious character knowledgeable about the Mahjong underworld. Kondo Shizuka is an idol-type girl resembling Kudo Shizuka, whose strength is her luck. Devil Ugyrs, resembling Demon Kogyur, is a boss-like character who plays selfishly. Finally, Robo Janshi is a robot who plays Mahjong with computer-like precision. Each character is shown with their starting points, skill power, and Mahjong luck stats, giving players insight into their abilities on the Mahjong table. This page presents a strategy guide from Mahjong Cop, offering essential techniques to overcome opponents. The guide is divided into 3 key areas to help players improve their winning chances. The first technique focuses on raising your high pain level. This level increases by using special POW cards, or by winning rounds. A higher high pain level unlocks access to advanced stacking techniques, which allow for more favorable tile draws. The strategy suggests aiming for a high-scoring hand like a Yakuman early in the game to quickly boost this level. The second technique introduces Inazuma Tsumo as the ultimate weapon. This is a powerful item tied to Ikari power that lets you draw a specifically desired tile, ensuring an effective draw for your hand. While related to the Ikari power meter, the guide advises saving its use for the later, tougher opponents. The third technique emphasizes the importance of decisive, short battles, especially as opponents accumulate points in later stages. The goal is to defeat the opponent in a single move, which means aiming for high-scoring hands like Yakuman, double Yakuman, or even triple Yakuman. The accompanying screenshots illustrate the game interface, showing player and opponent stats, and highlight examples of powerful winning hands like Suwanku or Daisangen. Hot Topics get a thorough master course. Part 1 reviews Herzog 2, a Technosoft game releasing mid-December for 6,800 yen. Described as an accessible, active simulation, combining simulation and action, it offers a fun bag of ideas, appealing despite potentially complex rules. Gameplay involves production, command, and transport. Players control a transforming combat machine, producing units anywhere using the ESC button. They then command units, setting their actions. Transporting units to locations is done with the A button. The goal is to conquer relay bases by deploying infantry units. Securing bases requires repeating this process. Base control is crucial, as the income for production increases based on the number of bases held, driving territorial expansion and resource management. This page continues the deep dive into Technosoft's classic, Herzog 2. It offers practical techniques for success, starting with the ability to change commands for units even while they are being transported, allowing for flexible strategy adjustments on the fly. A crucial tactic involves assigning units a defensive posture at captured bases to secure them effectively. The guide also highlights the excellent two-player versus mode. When playing against another person, the screen splits vertically, allowing both players to see their own perspective of the battlefield simultaneously. A key advantage noted here is the ability to glance at the opponent's side of the screen, particularly when they view their map, to gain insight into their movements or plans. It's recommended to practice against the AI first to get a feel for this mode. Finally, the page explains the radar system, showcasing its 2 modes. The overall mode displays the entire map, providing a strategic overview of unit positions and base control. The surrounding mode offers a zoomed-in view of the area immediately around your controllable unit. These radar views, shown in accompanying screenshots, are essential for managing your forces and reacting to the enemy. Another screenshot displays the end-of-match results screen, showing key statistics for both players. This page dives into Part 2 of the new Software Complete Master Series, putting the spotlight squarely on the classic arcade beat-em-up Golden Axe. A large pixelated image of the game's title logo dominates the upper section, highlighting its status as a popular release priced at 6,800 yen. The lower half features engaging illustrations and dialogue. We see recurring characters from a manga section, including a bull wearing a baseball cap with Kanetetsu Bakales and a panda. The bull character, wielding an axe marked, "Oh, no," is clearly a nod to the Kintetsu Buffaloes baseball team, a common cultural reference in the magazine. The dialogue, titled "Kintetsu is Immortal," appears to be a conversation between these characters, labeled Ono and You, discussing Golden Axe, referencing arcades, Gizen, and possibly linking the game's excitement to their baseball fandom. Seems to capture the buzz around playing Golden Axe, perhaps discussing strategies or the experience at the arcade compared to the home console. The characters' playful banter reflects the magazine's light-hearted approach to reviewing and discussing games. Golden Axe allows players to choose from 3 heroes, each with unique strengths and weaknesses. Tyrese Flare, a sorceress seeking revenge, excels in magic and possesses 6 different spells but is weaker in close combat. Gilius Thunderhead, a dwarf, is the strongest in close combat, using a giant axe and devastating rolling attack, and seeks revenge for his kin. Axe Battler is a balanced character, skilled in both techniques and magic, offering a middle ground between Tyrese and Gilius, but may not excel in either area. The text highlights the importance of understanding each character's attributes before playing, suggesting Tyrese for magic users, Gilius for brute strength, and Axe for a more versatile experience. This page continues the deep dive into the world of Golden Axe, focusing on the unique magic abilities of each of the 3 heroes introduced previously, along with key game mechanics like rideable creatures and item sources. It details Tyrese Flare's powerful firestorm magic, explaining how its strength increases significantly with the number of potions used, culminating in the devastating dragon summon shown in the screenshots. Gilius Thunderhead's magic is showcased next, focusing on the Thunder Break spell, which, while perhaps less varied at high levels according to the text, offers strong power with fewer potions. Axe Battler's magic, the earth-shattering field destroyer, or earthquake, is also detailed, demonstrating how its destructive force scales up with potion collection, capable of clearing the screen. Beyond magic, the page introduces the concept of taming monsters by showing the different types of Bizarrians players can ride: the chicken leg, blue dragon, and red dragon, each offering distinct attacks. Finally, it covers the elusive thieves, sometimes called gnomes or sprites, those sneaky characters who appear periodically and drop valuable items like potions and food when kicked, serving as a vital resource for players throughout their quest. This guide provides strategic insights for later stages of Golden Axe. Stage 5, leading to Death Adder's castle, emphasizes environmental awareness, particularly the narrow bridge where dropping enemies is key. Riding the dragon is advantageous. The red armored knight's weakness lies in side attacks. Stage 4, Path of the Dead, stresses caution and potion conservation for magic due to unexpected enemy appearances. A key strategy involves taking enemies on one at a time and utilizing positioning to avoid attacks. Stage 3, Beyond the Turtle Village, features surprisingly agile large blue armored enemies. The guide builds upon previous information, offering specific tips for navigating these challenging areas. This page continues the strategy guide for Golden Axe. Stage 1 serves as a warm-up. Use the mountain path to practice techniques. Be sure to capture the chicken leg mount that appears mid-stage, as its tail whip is crucial for clearing enemies and making later fights easier. Watch out for body attacks from Death Adder's soldiers. Stage 2 takes you to the treacherous coastline. Navigating the sandy beach requires care due to numerous cliffs where you can easily fall. Use the terrain to your advantage to defeat enemies. Female warriors appear, noted for their speed. Secure the blue dragon mount. Its fire attack is highly effective, particularly in the narrow village area where it appears. A tip for Stage 3 briefly notes that when the armored knight enemy appears, use magic first to weaken him before engaging in combat due to the many enemies accompanying him. Screenshots show the Stage 1 area with the chicken leg, the Stage 2 beach and village with the blue dragon, and the Stage 3 castle gate with the knight. This page features the 40th installment of Jun Miura's essay series, humorously titled, "Be Careful Not to Become a Good Adult." Through cartoon illustrations and text, Miura reflects on societal expectations versus his own eccentric interests, primarily video games. He talks about playing classics like Tetris, owning multiple Game Boys, and enjoying games on the NES, PC, and Sega Mega Drive. A particular point of interest is his desire to play against other people using communication lines, referencing challenges against Sega's computer, and the wish to compete against unknown guys all over the country. He even mentions playing Altered Beast, and how overhearing conversations via these communication lines reveals someone isn't a conventional good adult. The page is filled with quirky drawings depicting gaming setups and various characters expressing thoughts related to the essay's themes. Miura also includes a side note about his band, Oshima Nagisa, having plans to perform at Budokan on New Year's Day 1990 for an event related to the popular TV show IKA 10. This page features an article pitting two legendary heroes against each other, Japan's Ultraman and America's Batman. The article discusses upcoming games for the Mega Drive, featuring these iconic characters. It highlights the interesting historical coincidence that both Ultraman and the 1966 Batman TV series made their Japanese debuts in the same year, 1966. The author notes that, while Ultraman became a massive phenomenon, Batman's reception was more niche at the time, comparing Ultraman's popularity to that of top idols of the era. The piece serves as an introduction to the character's history before diving into their new gaming adventures on the Mega Drive. The article is penned by Higashi Hachiru. This page delves into the world of Ultraman, providing a historical background for the iconic hero. The page features a black and white photo showing the full Science Patrol team, with the caption, identifying Hayata as the second person from the right. The article discusses Ultraman's birth, describing him as an alien from Nebula M78, who came to Earth to protect it from invaders. It highlights his origins, mentioning the concept stemmed from an earlier project called Red Man. The text explains Ultraman's immense power, including the spacium ray, and notes his limitation of only being able to fight for 3 minutes on Earth due to energy consumption. It details how Ultraman merged with Science Patrol member Hayata after a collision, and how Hayata transforms into Ultraman using the Beta Capsule to fight monsters and defend Earth's peace. The article serves as a concise introduction to Ultraman's lore and significance. This page continues the deep dive into the world of Ultraman, shifting focus from his origins to the formidable foes he faced and the reasons behind his enduring popularity. You see classic villains like the monstrous Bemular, who Ultraman chased to Earth, and the iconic space ninja Baltan Seijin, described here as Ultraman's ultimate rival. The text lists many of Ultraman's memorable enemies, categorizing them as Earth monsters and aliens, noting they were all lovable in their own way despite the weekly battles. The article explores Ultraman's lasting appeal, highlighting his groundbreaking role as a pioneer in the giant transforming hero genre, which paved the way for successors like Ultra 7 and even influenced later franchises such as Gundam. It attributes his continued success to various factors, including collectible merchandise like soft vinyl figures and models, media tie-ins like magazine articles, mentioned specifically for Shonen Magazine, and engaging events held across the country. Finally, the piece touches upon Ultraman's presence in video games, specifically mentioning Sega. The author expresses a desire for game adaptations that are more than just simple action titles, hoping they deliver experiences that truly resonate with fans across different generations. You also see a photo of collectible toys, showing how Ultraman's essence is captured in different forms, even revealing a Hayata figure hidden inside an Ultraman shell from a Bandai toy line. This page dives into the history and origins of Batman, drawing a comparison to Ultraman from the previous page by noting Batman's much longer career, dating back to his 1939 debut in Detective Comics by Bob Kane. The article emphasizes Batman's more human nature compared to other American heroes like Superman. It recounts the tragic tale of how young Bruce Wayne witnessed his parents' murder, a profound shock that led him to vow vengeance against crime and dedicate his life to becoming a hero through rigorous training and scientific study. The pivotal moment he saw a bat fly through his window, inspiring his costume, is also detailed. The page features a prominent image from the 1989 Batman movie, starring Michael Keaton, alongside a classic DC Comics cover showcasing Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder. It also notes the success of the 1989 film and its release in Japan. This article explores the introduction of Robin into the Batman universe. It details how Dick Grayson, a young circus acrobat whose parents were murdered, is taken in by Bruce Wayne, who then trains him to fight crime. Dick becomes Robin, Batman's partner, forming a crime-fighting duo driven by shared tragedy. The article highlights their methods, often involving the bat signal, a projection used by Commissioner Gordon to summon Batman. They utilize the Batmobile to reach crime scenes. The piece also mentions iconic Gotham villains like the Joker, Riddler, Penguin, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman, praising Jack Nicholson's portrayal of the Joker in the 1989 film. The article is accompanied by illustrations and photos, including classic comic art, the bat signal, the Batmobile, and a Batman action figure, noting the global success of the 1989 movie. This page discusses the new era of low-priced videos arriving in Japan, highlighting the shift towards a standard price of 3,500 yen. The article points out that this trend, pioneered by companies like CIC, Columbia, Universal's Paramount, and followed by others such as Pony Canyon, marks a significant change from the previous norm of videos costing around 10,000 yen. The piece includes images related to popular films being released at these new prices, featuring actress Hiroko Yakushimaru, and scenes reminiscent of movies like Take Me Skiing. The column notes that this focus on affordability is also influencing other media, particularly game software, with titles for platforms like Game Boy and other high-performance games beginning to see similar price reductions. This page kicks off with a look at the Yamaha S7, a compact audio system specifically designed to complement the Sega Genesis/Mega Drive setup. It's highlighted for its stylish, space-saving design, allowing integration with existing CD players, keyboards, and PCs. Next up is some exciting news in the Come information section, announcing a new TurboGrafx 16 model, the PC Engine Shuttle. This spaceship-like console is making waves, particularly for its remarkably low price point of 18,800 yen. It comes standard with a turbo controller and AV stereo output, a nice upgrade from previous models, although note it doesn't support the Cladrom squared peripheral. There's also a brief mention of the movie adaptation of the popular Bataashi Kingyo manga, featuring photos of the cast. Finally, the page offers a practical guide in RGB cable part 2, showing you how to build your own RGB cable using a 15-pin connector. This is aimed at connecting your console to displays like certain Sharp monitors that support this input. The guide provides the necessary pinout diagram and a list of parts, making it seem quite straightforward, even correcting a previous guide's error regarding resistor values. It's a handy-dicky project for getting the best possible picture quality. This page features a compelling article discussing the landscape of third-party software development for the Sega Genesis/Mega Drive, illustrated with caricatures likely representing Nintendo and Sega alongside a third-party developer. The piece delves into why some developers might be hesitant to fully commit to the platform, while others, like Capcom, are noted for their strong development posture. It contrasts the perceived approaches of Nintendo and Sega towards third parties, highlighting the free atmosphere of the Sega Genesis/Mega Drive as a potential draw. The article speculates on the competitive scene, mentioning developers such as ASC2, Data East, Taito, Namco, and Enix in the context of potential support. It touches upon the importance of console install base for developers and suggests the Sega Genesis/Mega Drive market has significant potential for growth. Finally, it briefly considers the impact of emerging handhelds like the Atari Lynx and the PC Engine GT. This page presents the fourth installment of an article series titled Chronicle of the Two Kingdoms in the TV Game Industry, focusing on the Sega Mega Drive's strategy to popularize its console, having reached 3 million units sold, and the intense competition for third-party developers. The article, penned by Jam Oji-san with illustrations by Yutaka Kondo, highlights the battle between Sega and Nintendo to secure support from developers. The piece emphasizes that the TV game industry is still in its infancy, but growing rapidly, offering significant opportunities. It discusses the varying approaches of third parties, some fully committing to Sega while others remain cautious or split their focus between Sega, Nintendo, and even PC Engine. Key third-party developers like Konami, Namco, Enix, Squaresoft, Hudson, ASC2, Data East, Taito, and Messiah are mentioned as crucial players in this landscape. The author suggests that the success of the Mega Drive hinges on the quality and quantity of software produced by these third parties, and that Sega's free atmosphere might be appealing compared to Nintendo's more restrictive policies mentioned in the previous discussion. The large illustration at the bottom visually represents this industry battle, depicting characters likely symbolizing Sega, in blue, and Nintendo, in red, alongside smaller figures representing various third-party developers vying for position. It captures the competitive spirit of the era as these companies fought for market dominance. This page features an interview with musician Hiroshi Sato, discussing his approach to music production using computers. The large vertical text indicates the title relates to using computers to express oneself freely through music, highlighting special techniques. Sato discusses using Macs extensively for his work, noting that he uses them intuitively rather than relying on numerical input. He talks about translating the feeling and speed of skiing into music for a project. Regarding games, he mentions playing a golf game with friends, but being dissatisfied with the graphics. He touches on game music, stating he isn't particularly interested in the current quality of music on computers, likely referring to the limited sound capabilities at the time, mentioning 4 or 8 voices, but sees potential as technology advances, mentioning the shift to 64 voices. He believes computers empower humans with freedom, particularly in creative expression. The page includes an image of Sato talking with hand gestures, reinforcing the interview format. This page continues the interview with musician Hiroshi Sato, where he details his journey starting music in middle school, learning instruments, and experimenting with home recording. He discusses taking up piano later and playing jazz, explaining his choice was to best express the music in his head. Sato sees computers and synthesizers as tools that provide creative freedom by mitigating physical limitations, allowing the focus to shift from technique to imagery. He shares frustrations with early computer use, but highlights the enjoyment of playback and recording. He notes the significant improvement in usability with the advent of the Macintosh, compared to earlier sequencers like the MC8. His core motivation remains the desire to express his musical vision, viewing technology simply as the method to achieve this. This page dives into the world of game music, highlighting a trend towards faster releases of soundtracks on CD and tape, moving beyond just album releases. It introduces the GSM 1500 series as a new line of low-cost soundtracks, focusing on specific game music rather than full albums. A great way for fans to get their hands on the tunes they love, quickly and affordably. The page also announces the Reader's Choice Sound Club Grand Prize, calling for fans to vote for their favorite game music and Best Album of the Year released in 1990. Entry details are provided for those wanting to cast their vote. Featured titles in the GSM 1500 series include classics like Legend of Hero Tonma, the infamous Zero Wing, Genshijima, A Taxing Woman, and Saint Dragon. Other notable games with soundtracks in the series mentioned are Dragon Breed, Twin Cobra under its Japanese title, and Don Dokodon, all released through Pony Canyon. There's also a brief mention of a book featuring Keiichi Suzuki, the composer behind the fantastic music in the Mother series, discussing his musical journey with his family. This page features the third installment of the Japan RPG Travelogue series by Takeo Iijima, continuing the story of his first stay at the Akame 48 Waterfalls. Titled, The Horror of Akame 48 Waterfalls Less Than Part 2 Greater Than, the article humorously recounts the difficult and unexpected challenges faced during the trip, comparing the experience to an arduous RPG quest that didn't quite meet expectations. The author describes the discrepancy between the romanticized image of the waterfalls and the reality of the strenuous hike and confusing terrain. The page is dominated by a large, lively illustration by depicting the chaotic and less than ideal nature of the journey, with characters struggling and looking exasperated, capturing the humorous tone of the writing. The article concludes with a prediction quiz related to the trip, hinting at further misadventures to come. This page details a challenging trip to Akame 48 Waterfalls, framed as a humorous, difficult RPG quest that deviated from expectations. This page presents a thorough review of the Sega Mega Drive version of Sokoban, titled, The Greatest Sokoban in History. Developed by NCS, this release boasts a massive 250 stages across 25 levels, offering an ultra-puzzle challenge. The article touches upon the series' long history, dating back to early PC systems, and its eventual arrival on the Mega Drive. The review highlights the depth and quality of the puzzles, noting the variety in the graphics and stage designs, including different box and wall appearances. It emphasizes the game's nature as a pure puzzle experience, despite a brief story introduction. Crucially, the page points out thoughtful design features to alleviate player frustration, such as a one-move undo function and a replay mode to review movements. An edit mode is also showcased, allowing players to create their own puzzles, with an example demonstrating how custom designs can spell out text like beep, clearing specific certification stages, rewards players with visual unlocks, like a portrait of a girl. The reviewer concludes that it's a highly enjoyable, long-lasting puzzle game. This page serves as an essential guide for anyone about to dive into the Mega Drive version of Sokoban. Building on the previous page's review, it offers fundamental strategies and techniques to tackle the game's challenging puzzles. The page breaks down the core concepts, advising players on basic movements, clearing paths, and avoiding common pitfalls like trapping boxes or blocking off areas. It emphasizes careful planning and step-by-step progress. There's also a section on slightly more advanced techniques, touching on how to think ahead and predict the consequences of moves. A significant portion is dedicated to a step-by-step walkthrough of a specific level, illustrated with 6 screenshots. This example demonstrates how to apply the techniques discussed, highlighting critical moves like ensuring pathways remain open and strategically placing boxes, such as leaving one in a corner to maintain access. Finally, a coffee break section poses a lighthearted philosophical question about the game's protagonist, wondering how they access the various warehouses and where they go upon completion. This page is a must-read for mastering the game's mechanics. This page gives prospective buyers a fantastic visual tour of what awaits them in the Mega Drive version of Sokoban. Building on the previous page's strategies, this spread showcases 24 diverse levels, offering a glimpse into the game's puzzle design variety. The levels are categorized, highlighting common layouts, complex gotcha designs, patterns that might make you feel brainwashed by checkerboards, elegantly simple puzzles, and even some truly quirky or gag levels, like one resembling a rocket or another reminiscent of the wing eye from Phantasy Star. The brief comments accompanying each level image reveal the reviewer's perspective, expressing challenges, surprise, or humor. They note typical geometric puzzles, levels filled with cargo, symmetrical challenges, and intricate designs. It's clear the game ramps up in difficulty and creativity, promising many hours of head-scratching fun for dedicated puzzle fans. It's a great way to preview the mental workout this game provides. This page delves into the world of operating systems, or OS, explaining that it's not the OS from a sports day, but rather the fundamental software that manages a computer. It clarifies that while OS might seem less relevant to dedicated game consoles like the Mega Drive or Famicom, it's essential to all computers, including game machines, handling memory, and input/output devices. The article contrasts game machines, where the OS is often fixed in room, with PCs, where it's typically loaded from a disk. It discusses various OS types prevalent at the time, such as MS-DOS, highlighting its command line nature. It also mentions OS/2, known for multitasking, and the graphical environment of Macintosh OS, which was designed around icons and mice. Unix is presented as a powerful OS common in workstations. The author notes that systems like the X68000s, Human 68K, and the FM Towns OS offer interfaces similar to Mac OS, but have underlying characteristics closer to MS-DOS. The piece concludes by stating that as 16-bit machines become mainstream, the role of the OS will become increasingly important and unavoidable. This series will continue to explore the computer world, especially hardware and its surrounding environment. This page features a discussion between 2 individuals, identified as AE and U, about videos. The theme for this month is the joyful world of the absurd, focusing on videos that embrace the unreasonable and chaotic. They list 3 videos for discussion. 1. Comedian's Movie Carnival. 2. Pee-wee Herman's Flying Circus, likely related to Big Top Pee-wee. 3. Mike the Wizard. The conversation is light-hearted, touching on daily life before diving into the videos. They use the term absurd to describe the content. Images show the cover of Comedian's Movie Carnival and stills from the video, which appear visually bizarre and theatrical, fitting the theme. The dialogue particularly focuses on the chaotic and nonsensical nature of the first video, recounting strange scenes, like someone being taken to a theater after unexpected events. The overall tone is one of enjoying the sheer ridiculousness presented in these videos. This page continues the discussion about videos embracing the absurd. The dialogue between EC and U delves into Big Top Pee-wee, describing its weird atmosphere and Pee-wee Herman's unique personality. They comment on the surprising development, likening it to a circus stopping at a farm. The conversation then moves to Mike the Wizard, praising the passion evident in its creation, calling it a success story. They note the absurdity and surreal nature, comparing it to something out of a picture book or fairy tale. Images show posters and stills from Big Top Pee-wee and Mike the Wizard, fitting the bizarre and theatrical theme of the discussion. This page introduces the Atari Lynx, a new color LCD handheld console, and questions its potential to become a rival to the dominant Game Boy in the Japanese market. The article details the Lynx product announcement in Japan on October 30th, highlighting it as a direct competitor to Nintendo's popular handheld. It provides context on Atari's history, mentioning their past success with the Atari 2600 and subsequent decline, suggesting this launch is an attempt at a comeback. The text notes that the Japanese market sales are being handled by a company called Mumi, with a release set around November 20th, simultaneous with the US. Sales targets are modest initially, aiming for 160,000 units globally by year-end, but increasing significantly to 2.53 million next year. The article muses on whether Japanese consumers will accept this new machine, and if it has the power to challenge or even surpass the Game Boy. It mentions the Lynx's specs are detailed on the following page, and a comparison with Game Boy and Mega Drive will be discussed. The page also features artwork depicting a character against a cityscape backdrop. This page dives into the LG War, pitting the Atari Lynx against Nintendo's Game Boy. The article highlights the Lynx's impressive features like a color display with 4,096 colors, speed, communication, and zoom capabilities, stating that based purely on specs, the Game Boy can't measure up. It points out that the Lynx's performance is actually closer to 16-bit consoles like the Super Famicom or Mega Drive, exceeding them in some areas. The image shows the Lynx handheld, with a caption expressing surprise at its size. A three-way battle section compares the specs of the Game Boy, Lynx, and Mega Drive, reinforcing that the Lynx is a powerhouse compared to the Game Boy. However, the article raises emerging problems, citing the console's significant weight, similar to a Mega Drive, and poor battery life, only about 4 hours with 6A batteries, as major drawbacks, making an AC adapter almost essential. A table also compares prices in Japan and the US. Finally, the software situation is discussed as the biggest hurdle, though several titles are planned for launch. Launch games include ElectroCop, GemQuest, Monster Demolition, California Games, Blue Lightning, and The Gates of Zendokon. The article notes the Lynx unit itself is currently in short supply, adding another challenge to its battle against the dominant Game Boy and the established console market. The outcome of this fight remains uncertain. This page is called The Beeple Land, and features a fun, celebratory illustration with stars, trees, and cartoon characters, one wearing a party hat. The text above the main content suggests a powerful Mega Drive game would be the best Christmas present for readers. One section, Things I Want to Say to the Industry, features reader feedback. They mention enjoying import Master System games like Psycho Fox and Wonder Boy in Monsterland, but express a strong desire for Rampage to be released. They also discuss popular PC Engine titles like Sidearms and Atomic Runner. Another section highlights reader-submitted game ideas and other thoughts, including concepts for new games, and a note about the curious career path of a baseball player named Tao Kun. A significant part of the page is titled, Let's Make Sega a Man. Secret plan to break 3 million units. This discusses Sega's goal to sell 3 million Mega Drive units and how it compares to Nintendo's Famicom and Super Famicom. The writer believes that reaching 4 or 5 million units could solidify the Mega Drive as the central machine of the 90s and bring greater success for Sega. There's also a small manga strip showing a character quickly losing interest in a new game, and an illustration titled Emotionally Moved, possibly reflecting a player's reaction to a game. This page outlines an illustrated great strategy proposed for Sega to boost Mega Drive sales and surpass the 3 million unit mark. Building on the previous page's discussion of competing with Nintendo and PC Engine, the central idea here is the introduction of a floppy disk drive, FDD, for the Mega Drive, priced at 21,000 yen. The text and accompanying illustrations explain the benefits. Games developed for the FDD could be sold for significantly less than cartridges, ideally 2,500 yen, 3,000 yen compared to titles often priced over 6,000 yen. This lower cost is expected to attract more developers, especially from the PC software scene, leading to a larger and more diverse game library. The increased capacity of the FDD also allows for bigger and more complex games. The strategy aims to position the Mega Drive as a platform that combines arcade, PC, and console gaming experiences. Illustrations show the FDD unit, its price, developers supporting the concept, users contemplating the format choice, and a visual comparison highlighting the Sega FDD against the Super Famicom. The contributor believes this approach is crucial for Sega to effectively compete and achieve its sales targets. This page is dedicated to an illustration special, featuring various reader-submitted drawings and stories related to gaming. You'll find humorous illustrations, like a scene from Osomatsu-kun titled The Quest, a girl with a robot, and a drawing related to Beast King. There's also a great illustration of the arcade classic Forgotten Worlds, and another titled Maze, that seems to reference Namco's early Maze games. The text includes anecdotes about aging gamers and their continued passion, revisiting old arcade machines like Time Pilot, and feeling nostalgic. There's a call for letters from readers who enjoy games, Western music, and movies, particularly asking for recommendations for PC 98 games. The page also highlights strange and eccentric people of the gaming world, detailing peculiar habits readers have, such as getting injured playing Konami boxing, likely Punch-Out!, or attempting unusual technical setups like using a Famicom controller with a Mega Drive, showing the diverse ways people interact with their games. Finally, the magazine encourages readers to send in their submissions, noting the exciting, albeit wallet-draining, rush of Mega Drive software releases from November to December. The magazine acknowledges reader requests for more pages, but explains the difficulty due to the abundance of excellent content already flooding in, promising to focus on quality within the current page count. This page presents a Kurisotsu character special, featuring reader illustrations and various submission corners. Humorous drawings showcase characters from games like Peacock King 2, the wolf and frilled lizard from Altered Beasts, and the arcade classic Forgotten Worlds. There's even a drawing referencing Shigeru Miyamoto from Nintendo's development team. The magazine highlights its Illustration Best 3, including art inspired by the Super Strategy series, and a game possibly related to psychic powers, noting the challenge of selecting winners from 150 entries. One reader makes an urgent request for games like World Cup Soccer to support sports pads. The page also seeks reader sightings of people playing Game Boy in public, asking for details on where and who was playing. Various reader submission topics are listed, covering game reviews, cheats, debates, industry feedback, game comparisons, and more, inviting readers to share their thoughts and creativity. This page covers the 27th AM amusement machine show held at the Tokyo Ryutsu Center. This annual event, focusing on arcade machines with Japan leading the market, highlighted video games this year. The show attracted 18,000 visitors over 2 days, eager to see the latest releases. While the report notes the games were deep and high quality, it felt there was a lack of overall freshness. The page highlights a few key companies and titles. IREM's main attraction was R-Type 2. Despite only showcasing this single game, their booth was lively. They had previously featured R-Type and Image Fight. Konami also made an appearance with the highly anticipated Gradius 2i, which is targeting a December release, and drew significant crowds. Another Konami game mentioned is the puzzle game Quarth. The report suggests that while games like Quarth were interesting, Gradius 2i was the primary draw at Konami's booth. The 27th AM show featured a variety of arcade game offerings from several companies. Jaleco showcased Big Run, a body-sensory game with impressive communication features, alongside action titles and arm wrestling machines. Namco's energetic booth highlighted racing game 4 Tracks, featuring a motion cabinet and drawing long lines, as well as Winning Force, and various other new titles, including a driving simulator. Sega presented familiar titles like eSWAT and Super Hang-On, along with their popular crane game, UFO Catcher DXI, and new games like Line of Fire and Calon. Taito displayed the completed CI Cockpit and Darius 2 on a large projector, plus puzzle game Puzznik and the maze game Maze of Fists. Overseas titles and pinball machines were also shown. This page features a deep dive into the PC Engine Supergraphs, presented by Remodeled Human Inno, discussing the new machine's capabilities and its potential in the console market. The article highlights that the Supergraphs X was developed based on the original PC Engine, but with significantly improved graphics processing power, claiming it can rival the Sega Mega Drive. The text explains the graphical enhancements, noting it now supports 2 background layers and can handle twice the number of sprites compared to the original PC Engine. This graphical boost is complemented by increased RAM, 128 kilobits, and main memory, 32 kilobits, making it a much more powerful machine. Photos show the console from different angles, including the room card slot, power switch, AV output, and expansion bus. The article also touches on the console's sound capabilities, noting it expands on the sound source options, but points out that sound sources themselves weren't expanded. The reviewer expresses excitement about the SuperGrafx's potential, especially given its graphical prowess, and considers the upcoming software lineup crucial for its success. A comparison table briefly contrasts the specs of the original PC Engine with the SuperGrafx, showcasing the improvements. 4 upcoming software titles are listed: Battle Ace, a launch title; Madu King Granzort; Ghouls and Ghosts, mentioned as an 8 megabit card with impressive graphics; and Strider. The article concludes by emphasizing the console's release and its impact on the market, especially in the competitive environment of the time. This page showcases several computer magazines published by SoftBank. First up is PC, with 2 issues featured. One covers Japanese input methods and spreadsheet techniques, while the other offers an introduction to microcomputers, exploring CPUs, RISC processors, Z80, X68000 hardware, and even mentions games like the puzzle title The Sentinel Push B On, and software like Rogue Alliance. Images display computer setups. Next is FM, highlighting short programs and practical programming advice for FM systems. It covers topics such as AV graphics, extended color palettes, and includes various utility and game-related programs, plus articles on computer music. A photo shows a computer desk. It's a comprehensive guide for the information processing exam, providing study strategies, exam resources, and covers programming languages like CASL and COBOL, along with general computer topics. It includes an illustration related to exam concepts. The computer magazine delves into the Japanese Macintosh market, analyzing its current state and potential, discussing portable models, and featuring interviews with industry leaders. A photograph shows a computer setup. Finally, NAC Magazine focuses entirely on the SILIC programming language, offering a deep dive into libraries, including an interview with ESC co-creator Dennis Ritchie, articles on bitstring manipulation, and programming courses. It mentions a bonus disc featuring utilities, and includes a distinctive fish illustration. This report analyzes the Japanese video game market in September and early October, primarily focusing on the Sega Mega Drive, but also examining other platforms like the Famicom, Master System, and PC Engine. Early September saw strong Mega Drive sales, even with a limited game selection. Ghouls and Ghosts consistently performed well. Mid-September saw a mixed chart, with titles like Naomichi Ozaki's Supermasters and Phantasy Star II gaining traction. Late September saw Naomichi Ozaki's Supermasters at the top, but the overall chart was led by Earthbound Beginnings. Early October marked the debut of Superhangin, dominating sales. Reader surveys revealed desired software, Sorcerian, Golden Axe, and manufacturers, Konami, Nihon Falcom. The report also previews early hopes for the Megamodem service, highlighting desired game types. This page continues the discussion from the previous report, emphasizing the Mega Drive's momentum, with the headline declaring a whirlwind is raging. Superhangin, fresh off its debut, has soared to the top of the Mega Drive Best 5 chart. It's joined by established hits like Ghouls, Ain Ghosts, Altered Beast, Thunder Force 2, and Last Battle. The dominance extends to the overall video game Best 10 chart, spanning multiple platforms, where Superhangin also takes the #1 spot. This comprehensive list includes games from the Famicom, like Earthbound Beginnings and Super Mario Bros. 3, as well as titles on the PC Engine. Notably, Altered Beast appears twice, listed separately for the PC Engine and Mega Drive versions. The page also provides a substantial schedule of new software releases planned from November through April, detailing upcoming games, their developers, genres, and anticipated prices. Looking further ahead, a list of games scheduled for release from May onwards teases exciting titles such as Super Monaco GP, DJ Boy, Gameground, SWAT, Galaxy Force, Power Drift, and Turbo Outrun, showcasing a strong future lineup. Another chart, the Video Game Best 5, highlights popular titles that include arcade hits like Super Monaco GP, Darius 2, and Unsquadron, alongside Tetris and Golden Axe. This page features an advertisement for the KIC045DX Control Box, a product designed to bring authentic arcade gaming into the home. The main draw is the ability to connect actual arcade game boards to your home TV using this box, offering features like 1P/2P simultaneous play, compatibility with joysticks, and using durable, commercial-grade arcade parts. The box boasts stereo sound capability with a headphone jack for an immersive audio experience. It comes in different versions, offering various video output options: standard video/VHF, RGB 21-pin, or a model supporting both, with prices ranging from 28,000 yen to 37,000 yen, including necessary TV connection cables. As a special offer, purchasing the KICO45DX comes with a bonus. The company also sells a wide variety of game boards, both nostalgic classics and recent hits, starting from 3,000 yen, as well as individual control box parts. Additionally, they offer bundled sets including the control box and specific game boards like Renegade, Super Dodgeball, Frogger, and Hyper Olympic, among others, categorized by price tiers. The ad details the different connection types, noting that the RGB version offers improved image quality. The company, K.IC, provides contact information and operates a showroom in Higashigotanda, Tokyo, open afternoons including Sundays and holidays, inviting interested customers to visit. This page celebrates the first anniversary of the Mega Drive's launch, featuring a special Academy Awards event. The article highlights the console's impressive first year, having already sold over 800,000 units in Japan and aiming for 1 million, despite facing fierce competition and market turbulence, including the announcement of the Super Famicom and the launch of the Game Boy. The page showcases images from a celebratory reception, complete with a distinctive golden figure. BeepMD initiated a reader-driven project to determine the year's best Mega Drive games through an awards survey across 19 categories. Based on reader votes, the first round of nominated titles is presented, featuring iconic early hits like Altered Beast, Phantasy Star II, Thunder Force 2, Ghouls Von Ghosts, and Super Hangin'. The ultimate award winners are set to be decided by further reader voting from this list. The page also touches upon the significant events and hardware releases within the console's first year, including the launch of the Mega Drive modem and the Mega Adapter. This page presents the first round of nominees for the Mega Drive First Anniversary Awards across all 19 categories, based on preliminary reader votes. The magazine encourages readers to cast their final votes to potentially overturn these initial rankings. The nominations for Best Game are featured, showing a tight race between classics like Ghouls and Ghosts and Phantasy Star II, alongside other strong contenders including Thunder Force 2, Super Hangin', and Space Harrier 2. Moving to Character Awards, the nominees for Best Main Male Character include iconic heroes such as Arthur from Ghouls, Ian Ghosts, and Rolf from Phantasy Star II, with other notable entries like Alex Kidd and the Werebear from Altered Beast also making the list. The magazine notes the surprising appearance of some characters. For Best Main Female Character, the nominees include popular figures like Neely from Phantasy Star II and Rin from Fist of the North Star. The article points out the limited number of female leads in Mega Drive games at the time, and includes interesting picks like Diana Ref, primarily known from the Thunder Force 2 manual. Finally, the Best Main Boss Character nominees showcase memorable antagonists such as Lucifer from Ghouls, Unghosts, and Mother Brain from Phantasy Star II. Other formidable foes like the Dark Harrier and Jan Shuri from Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle are also recognized, although one entry, Arthur from Super Hangin', seems like a curious inclusion. The Mega Drive First Anniversary Awards continue with nominations for supporting characters, items, weapons, and armor. Best Supporting Male Character features strong contenders like Ludger from Phantasy Star II and Bat from Fist of the North Star. The Best Supporting Female Character category is competitive, with Phantasy Star II characters leading initially. The Best Supporting Goon Award highlights memorable minor enemies, with the Vomiting Pigman from Ghouls, and Ghosts expected to perform well. Best Item nominees range from essential items like moon atomizers to unique ones like the Pickled Stone. Best Weapon nominations include the Psycho Cannon and the Hunter. Finally, the Best Armor category focuses on protective gear, with RPG armor predicted to dominate, including the Magic Armor and Knee-Eye armors. This page continues the Mega Drive First Anniversary Awards, focusing on excellence in scripting, direction, music, art, special effects, and packaging. This page details the nominees and notable moments for several creative and technical award categories for Mega Drive games. The Best Screenplay Award considers how story and setting are integrated, not just in RPGs like Phantasy Star II and Super Hydolide, but also action titles like Ghouls and Ghosts and Rambo 2I. The Best Direction Award highlights memorable in-game moments and presentation, featuring highlights from games like Phantasy Star II's death scene, Ghouls and Ghosts ending, and Space Harrier 2's voice synthesis. For Best Music, the impressive FM sound capabilities of the Mega Drive are celebrated, with various titles like Super Hangin', Thunder Force 2 MD, and Phantasy Star II nominated for their soundtracks. The Best Art Award recognizes outstanding graphics in backgrounds, characters, and title screens, noting examples such as Thunder Force 2 Emid's opening and Ghouls and Ghosts Stage 4. The Best Special Effects Award focuses on technical achievements in programming like scrolling and large character sprites, with games like Phantasy Star II, Ghouls and Ghosts, and Thunder Force 2 MD showcased for their technical flair. Finally, the Best Packaging Award evaluates the box art, featuring the striking visuals for Ghouls and Ghosts and Phantasy Star II among the nominees. This page continues the Mega Drive Academy Awards feature, presenting nominees for several key categories. The Best Port Award focuses on games that successfully transition to the Mega Drive, either faithfully replicating the original or adding new elements. Noteworthy nominees include classics like Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Hangin', and Altered Beast, alongside titles like Super Strategic Command, Thunder Force 2, Super Thunder Blade, and Super Hydlide. Next is the Best Foreign Film Award, which, in this context, appears to recognize outstanding third-party games released on the platform. The magazine expresses disappointment that only 2 titles received nominations this time, Thunder Force 2 and Super Hydlide. A unique section highlights the Bubbles Commemorative Grand Prize, named after Michael Jackson's pet chimpanzee. This award acknowledges the most memorable Mega Drive-related topics and events from the past year. The picture shows Michael Jackson enjoying an arcade game. The nominated topics cover significant moments like the Mega Drive's release, third-party announcements, Michael Jackson's visit to Sega, the success of Ghouls and Ghosts, and the announcement of the Mega Modem. The magazine notes that the Tetris release delay was a major talking point. The page also briefly outlines how readers can participate by voting for their favorites across all categories via postcard. A comprehensive list on the right summarizes the nominated entry for each of the 19 award categories, providing a full overview of the contenders across the entire awards feature. This page provides a thorough look at the new game Vermilion. It highlights the game's release on December 16th for 8,500 yen from Sega. The game's story sets up a classic fantasy adventure. The evil Jorker 2 aims for world domination, leading to the invasion of the peaceful Fodoru kingdom by the Earnest army. The young prince, heir to the throne, is entrusted with the Ring of Knowledge and escapes with his loyal protector, Kshatriyan. The game begins 18 years later, with the prince now grown and Kshatriyan's life nearing its end, as their castle falls around them. The reviewer emphasizes that the game starts at this crucial moment of the prince needing to step up. Interestingly, the article points out that Vermilion was developed by staff who previously worked on arcade games. This background is credited for the game's impressive visuals, realism in scrolling, and impactful sound, making it feel akin to an arcade experience. The reviewer strongly recommends seeing it in action on a store monitor to appreciate its intensity. The page includes screenshots showing the game's dark fantasy setting, featuring a sword-wielding protagonist. This page delves into the characters and enemies of Vermilion. The main title declares, "How about these guys? They're characters. Look carefully, the fights will be long." It previews 23 enemy types from the game, stating this is just a fraction of what players will encounter, including powerful boss characters, hidden away or disguised. The page includes a description of the protagonist, a unique human in armor who can level up to 31, described as hating evil and loving good. The grid showcases various enemies with brief notes. Players will face foes like the Snake Man and Carmilla early on, with some described as easy, but others, like the Devil Bat and Small Demon, requiring higher levels or magic to defeat. The descriptions cover a wide range, from simple slimes and tough puddings to various beasts like werewolves and werewolves, and even magical creatures like shamans and sorcerers, and peculiar ones like the Big Eye and Cyclops. Some notes offer tactical advice, like running from scorpions and great mash due to poison, or how to handle the tricky Q. The reviewer adds personal touches, calling the green slime cute, or expressing regret over misjudging the Cyclops. Enemies encountered later in the game include the tough Bob Kobold and evil Golden Bat. Overall, it introduces a diverse and challenging lineup of foes awaiting the player in Vermilion. This page outlines the crucial locations and resources available to the player in Vermilion, focusing on the shopping spots vital for survival and progression. It covers essential services like the magic shop, where you acquire spellbooks that are necessary items, though you can only equip one for battle at a time. The private house offers valuable hints, but the guide strongly advises saving your game before entering. Inns are available to fully restore HP and MP for a varying cost, though the service is always the same regardless of the price. Intriguingly, it hints at a specific inn where something bad can happen, adding a touch of the game's flavor. The church provides healing for status ailments like poison and curses, but most importantly, it's where you can save your progress for free at one of the 3 available slots. The page also details the weapon and armor shop, emphasizing that acquiring stronger gear is key as you clear out areas and progress. It mentions various equipment types, like swords, shields, and armor. While many items are bought, the guide notes that some can be found or received elsewhere, highlighting significant pieces like the Sword of Vermilion, which isn't sold but obtained later, and the skull armor with its high defense. Combat magic spells are also briefly touched upon, describing fire-based attacks activated with the A button. Overall, it stresses the importance of utilizing these locations to be well prepared for the challenges ahead. This page dives deeper into the mechanics of magic, crucial locations, and essential items in Vermilion, expanding on the previous page's introduction to basic services. It highlights the importance of choosing spells wisely due to limitations. Magic is categorized by element: water, air, thunder, sleep, and function, defense, detailing specific spells like Hydro and Dehydro for water attacks, Galam and Sodom for air, Sabbath and Terades for lightning, and Naphtal for sleep. Utility magic includes Kima for HP recovery, Vanity for curing poison, Ares for instant town travel, and Rex and Bishasu for unique effects. The page also covers key spots beyond standard shops. The fortune teller offers hints if you're stuck, though it notes the upfront cost can be high. The restaurant section is oddly humorous, pointing out you can't actually eat there, but some locations provide secret information. Finally, it lists essential items you should definitely acquire. These include healing items like herbs and pills, light sources like candles and lanterns for dark areas, teleportation items like the Novum Stone and Griffin Feather, and stat-boosting items like various orbs for MP. Tanarose Jar, Defense, Goagaja Fruit, Agility, Basaki's Book, Intelligence, and Wizard's Water, Max MP. The item shop owner warns that prices increase as you progress, so careful purchasing is advised. This section gives players a solid guide on what to prioritize for survival and progression. This page details the initial progression through the early stages and dungeons of the action RPG Vermilion. It outlines the protagonist's journey starting from Stat's village, where his father tasks him with retrieving the Ring of Knowledge from Peak's Cave, highlighting the game's challenging start and the importance of maps and light sources in the initial dungeon. The guide then covers the arrival at Elias Town, the twist involving a fake king who sends the hero on another quest, and the subsequent revelation requiring exploration of the underground to find the real king and the Ring of the Sky. A section warns players about the increasing difficulty and dangerous monsters encountered on the path between Elias Town and Growlin, emphasizing the necessity of leveling up. Finally, the location of the first major boss is revealed, cautioning players about the structure of its dungeon and the need for careful preparation due to HP loss. This page outlines the start of Vermilion, covering early villages, dungeons, the fake king plot, and warnings about increasing difficulty and the first boss encounter. This page continues the guide for Vermilion, detailing the next steps after Elias Town. It covers Growlin Village, where players are advised to seek out a young person who directs them to the northern cave to regain youth. The guide warns that Growlin Village lacks an item shop, emphasizing the need to prepare beforehand. The path to the northern cave is highlighted as dangerous due to scorpions. A screenshot shows a dungeon map layout, offering a hint for navigation in lost areas. Separately, under Tea Break, a reviewer expresses their enthusiasm for Sega's arcade output, specifically mentioning enjoying titles like Outrun, Power Drift, Afterburner, and Super Monaco GP, praising their speed and excitement. The author then notes their interest in playing Vermilion, finding the 3D dungeon view particularly captivating. Finally, a special talk section introduces the first part of an interview with the Sega Vermilion development staff. It reveals that the RPG was created by the same team known for arcade hits, like Outrun and Power Drift. The interview explores why they chose to make an RPG, with the staff's surprising answer being simply that they wanted to make one. It also mentions an unusual development process where the design document was created after parts of the game were already completed, based on what the team wanted to achieve. Stage 4 in Vermilion leads to Kuruto Town, where you must find the missing king to obtain the Ring of Wind, retrieve his favorite item from a nearby cave, and trade it with Heimat for the ring. Stage 5, Yurujisu Town, involves helping the townsfolk by waking up the sleeping Dr. Bum using morning necessities and resolving 2 town incidents. Stage 6 takes you to Barishu Village, where you'll aid people, including Bishop and the boy A. The guide suggests revisiting the Elias Town cave for valuable items, including the Stone of Zack and mushrooms, and hints at key number 2. This page continues the discussion on Sega's RPG, Vermilion. The special talk section features the game's staff, highlighting the focus on compelling sound and visuals, emphasizing how the quality achieved for arcade games was brought to the home console version. They also discuss the game's design philosophy, stating the aim was to make the game enjoyable rather than overly difficult, reflecting the developer's passion during the roughly 10-month development period. There's a short tea break section with a humorous anecdote about someone suffering from a stiff neck, making a pun on the word mawaranai, doesn't turn. Following this, the page returns to the world of Vermilion, focusing on the town of Eden. The situation in Eden is detailed. The king is dead, and 2 ministers are vying for power, leaving the lovely Princess Natasha in a difficult position. The text suggests obtaining the Ring of Water. Returning with this item leads to a surprising marriage proposal from Princess Natasha. The page also sets the stage for Stage 7, where the objective is to obtain the Ring of Water and the crown. A screenshot shows the player character in an item shop in Eden. This page details progress in the game Vermilion, specifically focusing on Stage 8 and Rafurosu Village. After being robbed in Eden, the player is guided by an old man to Orson's cave. The text jokes about game mechanics allowing disregard for HP/MP, reminding the player to thank the old man. A screenshot is accompanied by a question. The page then lightheartedly complains about dungeon design, highlighting a 3rd basement floor, potential robbery, and a secret linked to the princess's village. A map illustrates the game's progression between key locations. The page concludes with part 3 of a staff interview, where the developers discuss their design philosophy, emphasizing 3D visuals for realism, the importance of in-game conversations, and their innovative approach to RPG structures. This page delves further into the world of Vermilion, covering multiple stages and story beats. Stage 9, the town of Kuriara, is introduced, noting the peculiar reactions of the townspeople and the presence of a boss. A dramatic narrative section describes a pivotal, seemingly tragic event involving the characters Shatrian and Vermilion during an escape from the invading army. Stage 10, Rajeru Village, is highlighted for its unique characteristic of having no men and the acquisition of the highly recommended Ares Magic Book. A double-structured cave and meeting an old woman in Rajeru are mentioned as significant. The guide then previews stages 12 through 17, signaling the game's progression into a more intense ladder half filled with difficult battles and plot twists, urging players to persevere towards gathering 6 rings for peace. Screenshots show town, dungeon, and building locations. This page focuses on the Sega Mega Drive port of the intense vertical scrolling shooter, Truxton, known as Tatsujin in Japan. It highlights the game's roots as a major hit in arcades, developed by the renowned Toplan, known for other classic shooters like Twin Cobra and Hellfire. The article explains Truxton's core gameplay, navigating stages, defeating bosses, utilizing different shot types with multiple power levels, and deploying limited bombers to clear the screen. It emphasizes that the difficulty level on the Mega Drive is comparable to the challenging arcade original. Screenshots showcase the vertical gameplay and the heads-up display (HUD), detailing where elements like score, remaining lives, bomber count, and the new round display are located in the Mega Drive version, noting some differences from the arcade layout for better clarity. It also points out that the 3rd level of the main shot differs from the arcade, a tweak made to enhance the home console experience. This page delves into the power-up system of Truxton. Obtaining power-ups is straightforward, primarily by collecting ST targets. The shot power-ups are key, with 3 distinct types, each having up to 2 power levels. emphasizing the strategic choice of weapon based on the situation. The normal shot is described as the standard and powerful option, effective against many enemies. The Tatsujin/Truxton beam is noted for its impressive size and power, particularly useful against durable foes, although its initial level might feel weak. The Thunder/Lightning attack locks onto enemies and continuously fires, making it effective against specific targets, but leaves you vulnerable while active. The section on targets clarifies that these are assistive items. P targets are crucial for upgrading your primary shot weapon, requiring multiple pickups to increase rank, and notably, you don't lose collected C targets upon being hit. B targets increase your bomber count, a vital tool for clearing the screen. Stargates increase your ship's speed, with 4 levels of speed increase before subsequent Stargates award points instead. The page also mentions that destroying specific skull-like enemies, or even ground objects, can reveal these valuable targets or shot power-ups, urging players to destroy them quickly. Screenshots throughout the page illustrate the different shot types in action, and the appearance of the P, B, and S target items within the game. This page dives into the challenges of Stage 1 in Truxton. It explains that while the beginning is relatively easy, the latter half escalates dramatically in difficulty, feeling like a completely different level. The mid-bosses are highlighted as being exceptionally tough and unleashing a hail of bullets. Standard enemies are manageable if dispatched quickly, but the journey through the stage is lengthy, and losing a few ships along the way is almost expected. The page then details specific dangerous enemies. The first mid-boss, a large red entity, should be taken down quickly with rapid-fire power shots, emphasizing close combat to avoid a drawn-out fight. Later, 2 yellow tiger mid-bosses appear simultaneously, known for their intense bullet patterns. The strategy here is to focus fire and eliminate one rapidly with power shots at close range before engaging the second. Finally, green formation attackers are mentioned, utilizing lasers and spread shots, and possessing significant durability. Beginners are advised to use a bomb against these formidable foes. The screenshots illustrate these key enemy types and key moments in Stage 1 gameplay, reinforcing the strategies discussed. This page provides a boss strategy guide for Truxton, focusing on the first boss, the J-Tank. The guide explains that while the J-Tank is initially tough, it's relatively easier compared to later bosses. The recommended approach is to stay at the bottom of the screen and unleash rapid fire on the center as soon as it appears. Crucially, players should prioritize destroying the turrets on the sides of the boss before focusing entirely on the main body. If cornered, using a bomb is advised to clear the screen and reposition, taking advantage of the boss's predictable pattern, which makes dodging straightforward. The page also briefly touches on the area leading up to the boss, noting the appearance of ground targets and stargates. It highlights that these ground objects can be dangerous if not destroyed, sometimes launching projectiles that can catch players off guard. The guide emphasizes the importance of remaining calm during the boss fight, especially as battles can become drawn out. It warns against over-relying on bombs too early, suggesting they be saved for critical moments to ensure survival through later stages. The screenshots illustrate the boss encounter and key moments leading up to it. This page continues the strategy guide for Truxton, moving on to Stage 2. The level starts in space, transitions through a challenging vacuum tube area, and then into a dangerous container zone leading up to the boss. The text highlights that the difficulty significantly increases from the midpoint of the stage. It specifically calls out the vacuum tube enemies, which are not only tough to destroy but also fire back intensely when hit. The container zone is described as a tense area right before the boss, with containers appearing from the sides and firing relentlessly. The guide suggests getting close to these enemies upon their appearance and using a powered-up shot to defeat them quickly. The main focus then shifts to the Stage 2 boss, known as Badron. This boss is noted for its immense size and resilience. While its weak point is the central core, defeating it isn't easy due to its heavy firepower and the sheer amount of bullets it fires. The strategy involves damaging the side cannons while concentrating fire on the center. The guide warns that losing against the boss sends you back to the beginning of the area before it, adding to the challenge. Overall, Stage 2 presents a significant jump in difficulty compared to the first, requiring careful navigation and strategic combat against tough enemies and a formidable boss. This page provides a strategy guide for Stage 3 of Truxton, covering enemies, the mid-boss, and the final boss, Grus. This stage of Truxton throws a lot at you, marking a significant difficulty spike. You'll encounter large numbers of weaker enemies, making the power shot or Tatsujin beam essential. The troublesome vacuum tube enemies and Beelan acid zones from Stage 2 return later in the level. Remembering their patterns is key. The mid-boss, Boo Boo, appears 3 at a time and fires barrages of bullets, The trick is to slip through the gaps that open up after they shoot. If you can't handle this, the later stages are likely impossible. Following Boo Boo, another B-Lan acid area leads to the main boss, Groose. Groose is a huge, organic boss that fires many bullets. Its weakness is the central core, but you must also avoid fire from its side cannons. Concentrate fire on the core, and use bombs effectively to secure victory, and move on to Stage 4. This page delves into the strategy for Stage 4 of Truxton. This stage is described as deceptively simple in appearance, featuring dark space and basic green terrain, but it's brutally difficult. The guide stresses the importance of securing power-ups early by defeating ground enemies, as progressing without them is impossible. Stage 4 features two challenging mid-boss encounters. The first is Jorsa, who appears alone but poses a significant threat with wide area and laser attacks. Don't underestimate this single enemy. Following Jorsa, a second mid-boss appears in a tricky 3-on-1 formation described as an irregular tag match. The guide advises carefully reading their movements and attacking cautiously to overcome this segment. The main boss for Stage 4 is Dazbom. Compared to previous bosses, Dazbom is relatively small, but fires a massive volume of bullets. Adding to the challenge, smaller enemies, Zako, also appear during the boss fight. Despite its biological appearance that might look weak, Dazbom is quite tough. The strategy is to prioritize the smaller enemies, effectively use bombs, and maintain distance while continuously attacking. Successfully defeating Dazbom marks the end of Stage 4 and prepares you for the final stage. This page covers the grueling final stage of Truxton, Stage 5. Described as the most difficult stage in a game known for its challenge, it's a path only true masters can hope to clear. Getting to the ending will require everything you've learned. Stage 5 brings back reinforced versions of previous mid-bosses and introduces new, tough enemies. The guide emphasizes the importance of power-ups and maintaining a close-quarters attack pattern with power shots. The key strategies are to eliminate incoming enemies quickly and avoid picking up the thunder laser. Several challenging enemies and mid-bosses are shown, including the powerful Zako from Stage 1, now significantly stronger and taking a long time to defeat. There are also rematches against previous mid-bosses, like the one from Stage 1's third section and the Zon, both tougher than before. The final boss is Dobgravast. It's described as having three key attributes: strong, tough, and big. Defeating it will be extremely difficult. The fight is a test of skill, requiring you to dodge bullets, attack constantly, and stick to the fundamentals. Good luck with this final battle. This page features a complete master guide, Part 5, focusing on the Sega Mega Drive title, The Revenge of Shinobi, known in Japan as the Super Shinobi. The page highlights the game's status as a major new release, with improved graphics and action, aiming to help players instantly master it. The story introduces Joe Musashi, a shinobi master who previously defeated the evil crime syndicate Zed. 3 years later, Zed has been revived as Neo Zed and has kidnapped Musashi's fiancée, Naoko. The guide sets up Musashi's quest to rescue her and confront Neo Zed. The reviewer is highly impressed with the game, noting the significant leap in visual quality compared to earlier shinobi titles, describing the graphics as realistic and the action as greatly enhanced. Stages are larger and more varied, even taking the player to America. While enemies are more numerous, the difficulty is presented as well-balanced, not overwhelmingly hard. The Revenge of Shinobi is praised as a likely popular title and a masterpiece of the action genre. A map screen showing the game's progression across 3 main stages is also shown. This page delves further into the Revenge of Shinobi, highlighting its impressive graphics and variety. The reviewer praises the visuals, noting the detail and sense of realism, such as the gradual change in the size of the moon and the depiction of falling water. The layered backgrounds with different scrolling speeds are also mentioned, creating a sense of depth and movement. The article then discusses the enemies and action. The Revenge of Shinobi features over 20 types of enemies, many of them unique characters. The reviewer specifically points out the bosses, noting parodies of famous figures like Godzilla, the Terminator, and Batman. The variety of their attack patterns and the inclusion of powerful ninjutsu techniques are highlighted as contributing to the exciting gameplay. Screenshots show a battle against a large blue creature, Godzilla parody, and other enemy types. The review also touches on the player options, which offer customization for button functions, difficulty level, and the number of shurikens. This flexibility is seen as a user-friendly technique that allows players to tailor the experience to their preference, enhancing replayability. Finally, the music is praised, with the BGM composed by the renowned Yuzo Koshiro. The reviewer notes that all 19 tracks match the atmosphere of the stages, and recommends listening to them via the options menu. This page acts as a strategy guide for mastering the combat techniques in The Revenge of Shinobi, emphasizing that becoming one with the controls is key to success. It breaks down the basic offensive options available to the ninja, including standing and crouching shuriken throws, kicks, and sword slashes, noting that combining these with different stances creates a variety of attacks. Crucially, the guide highlights the importance of the double jump, a challenging but essential move for navigating the game's levels. It also details the powered-up versions of the shuriken and sword attacks, showcasing enhanced range and power. A defensive crouching block is also shown, useful for deflecting projectiles. Finally, the page introduces the powerful Thunder Ninjutsu technique, depicted as a flurry of shuriken fired downwards while in mid-air during a power-up state. This devastating move can clear the screen of enemies, but comes at a significant cost in shuriken reserves, making its use strategic. Screenshots throughout the page visually demonstrate each of these moves. This page continues the strategy guide for The Revenge of Shinobi, focusing on the crucial ninjutsu techniques and the various items found throughout the game. It details the 4 distinct ninjutsu abilities available. Ikazuchi, a lightning shield providing temporary invincibility. Fushin, granting a mid-air floating ability. Karyu, summoning pillars of fire that damage all enemies on screen. And Mijin, a last resort self-destruct bomb that clears the screen at the cost of a life. These powerful moves are generally limited to 1 use per round, every 3 stages, unless a ninjutsu scroll item is collected, making strategic timing essential, particularly against bosses. The guide notes the impressive visual and sound effects accompanying their use. The page then covers the items, typically found by breaking open boxes. Players must be careful when acquiring items, as stopping to break boxes can leave you vulnerable. Important items include shuriken power-ups, small and large, a power-up that significantly boosts shuriken damage and allows for a defensive crossguard block, life recovery, small and large, a 1-up for an extra life, and ninjutsu scrolls to replenish uses. The only item to avoid is the time bomb. The guide highlights the power-up and ninjutsu scrolls as particularly valuable finds, with the reviewer personally favoring the power-up. This page continues the strategy guide for The Revenge of Shinobi, diving into the initial stages and their challenges. Stage 1 serves as a straightforward introduction, populated by weak enemies, perfect for players to get the hang of basic actions like using shuriken and timing jumps. No need for complex ninja magic here, just straightforward offense. Stage 2 takes you into the ninja mansion. While presented as a maze, it's not overly difficult action-wise. The key here is grabbing the valuable 1-up and power-up items. If you've powered up, the boss fight becomes much easier, and using the lightning shield ninjutsu can really help. Watch out for the bamboo traps. Stage 3 introduces the first boss, the Blue Lobster. This guy is tough to fight head-on due to his armored shell and longsword, making close combat difficult. The best approach is to attack his head when he exposes it after swinging his sword. Stand on the left or right walls to avoid his attacks, and unleash a barrage of shuriken. Be warned, this strategy chews through your shuriken stock quickly, but it's the most effective way to take him down with minimal damage. The basic ninja and samurai enemies shown are just fodder according to the guide. The white ninja men throws shuriken, and the samurai kabuto attacks with a sword swing. Master the timing against these simple foes early on. This page continues the guide for The Revenge of Shinobi, moving on to Stage 4. This stage shifts the focus to platforming actions set against a dramatic waterfall backdrop. The guide emphasizes that the natural environment, particularly the tricky terrain, is the main challenge here, more so than the enemies themselves. Stage 4 is filled with treacherous jumps, demanding precise timing, especially when utilizing the double jump ability. One particularly difficult section highlighted is a series of logs flowing down a waterfall, requiring a specific hop, step, jump sequence to navigate. The guide warns that enemies often await you at landing points, making successful jumps even more perilous. An enemy shown is the Bat Ninja, described as attacking from the air using its wings and shuriken. While enemies are not the primary threat in this stage according to the guide, they still add to the difficulty of the platforming challenges. Success in Stage 4 relies heavily on mastering movement and jump timing over the perilous landscape. This page continues the guide for The Revenge of Shinobi, moving into the challenging Stage 5. The scene shifts dramatically from the waterfall to a fierce battle set against high-rise buildings. The guide points out that while the ground level is densely packed with enemies and tough to navigate, The rooftop sections are where you'll primarily advance. Mastering the jump-down maneuver by pressing jump and down simultaneously is crucial for moving between levels. The page highlights key enemies you'll face, including the agile Kung Fu Man, the mysterious nun with her unique attacks, and the fast-moving Kunoichi Ninja, each requiring different tactics to defeat. A dedicated section focuses on boosting your combat power by finding hidden items. It suggests that each stage likely contains at least one hidden power-up, like 1-ups or ninjutsu scrolls, found by striking seemingly empty areas. Suspicious locations such as elevator floors, the end of stages, or places with unusually high ceilings are prime suspects for hidden items. Finding these is presented as a major factor in successfully clearing the stages. This page continues the guide for the Revenge of Shinobi, focusing on the intriguing Stage 6, titled, Now, to the Asphalt Jungle. This stage features a surprising setting, a disco. The guide introduces the second boss, the Shadow Dancer, who appears as multiple shadow clones. The key strategy involves waiting for the clones to briefly merge before striking, suggesting this boss can be defeated relatively quickly if you time your attacks correctly. The reviewer seems taken aback by the disco theme. Following Stage 6, the guide hints at the next challenges, set in environments like an airport, inside a transport plane, and a scrapyard. This marks a shift, indicating that the difficulty is about to increase significantly. The text suggests that the stages up to this point were merely the setup, and the real, tougher battles are just beginning against new types of enemies shown in the screenshots, including heavily armed foes and fire-breathing characters. This page features the third installment of the Let's Try with Chan's Dawn column, focusing on the latest in pinball. The main subject is Data East's Monday Night Football pinball machine, with a large image showcasing its playfield, plus smaller shots of the display and a specific playfield area. The article discusses the cultural appeal of pinball, likening it to pop art and music, suggesting players should embrace an American spirit and appreciate the machine's design much like admiring art. It also highlights the evolution of pinball into the digital age, moving beyond the old bar image, with modern technology like ICS and digital displays. The review specifically praises the Monday Night Football machine for its advanced digital display, which provides various information, including lyrics, and its unique gameplay features, such as the central ramp used for field goals, emphasizing the game's impressive depth and speed, characteristic of modern pinball machines. This page provides essential basic pinball techniques for players looking to improve their game. It emphasizes mastering fundamental skills beyond just looking good. A key defensive tactic discussed is using flippers one at a time, not simultaneously, which helps narrow the gap and prevent the ball from draining. For offense, the technique of holding the ball on the flipper to aim for specific targets is highlighted as crucial for deliberate play rather than relying on chance. The article stresses that winning requires calculated shots. It also introduces hugging, nudging the machine, as a vital skill for controlling the ball near the out lanes and return lanes, urging players not to fear tilting, but to practice subtle nudging, a technique widely used by pros. A glossary defines important pinball terms, like slingshot, bumper, target, and outlane/return lane. The page concludes with a brief interview with Joe Kaminkow, the designer of the Monday Night Football pinball machine, encountered by chance at Data East, recognizing his genius in pinball design. This page reports from the 27th Amusement Machine Show, highlighting new and upcoming arcade releases. The event, held on October 4th and 5th, showcased the latest in arcade technology. Featured games include Shark-Type 2, the intense sequel to the classic shooter, boasting significantly upgraded graphics and sound, and a powered-up LAR-9 ship. Konami presented Quarth, a unique shooting puzzle game with simple rules but challenging gameplay involving falling blocks, noted for its peculiar atmosphere. Beastbusters, an SNK title, is a 3D light gun game where players blast zombies and monsters, offering thrilling and impactful destruction, with support for up to 3 players. Konami's esteemed shooter series sees the debut of Gradius 2 Eyes as a reference exhibit, pushing the boundaries of graphics and sound beyond its predecessors, aiming for completion in December. Capcom showcases 1941, Counterattack, the third game in the series, powered by their CP system for flashy effects and appealing visuals and audio, supporting simultaneous two-player action. Finally, Super Monaco GP is featured, highlighting its network capability with 8 cabinets connected at the show, noting it's already available in arcades, and matches the body sensory cabinet version, hinting at future releases of these machine types. This page continues the report from the 27th Amusement Machine Show, highlighting several notable arcade releases. Gillette unveiled Big Run, their debut body-sensory game featuring communication capabilities, a rally simulation where a unique klaxon system makes AI cars move aside. Tatsumi's impressive Roundup 5 stood out with its cockpit cabinet and expansive widescreen displayed across 3 monitors, offering an intense car chase experience. Taito presented the puzzle game Puzznic, a novel block-dropping title where matching patterns vanish. Tecmo showcased their soccer sequel, World Cup 90, featuring enhanced graphics with realistic players and retaining the familiar, enjoyable gameplay. Taito's FZ system shooter, Mega Blast, was also featured, known for its sharp visuals and 4-directional shooting. Lastly, Seibu Kaihatsu's Dynamite Duke, shown at the Tecmo booth, offered a unique blend of shooting and action gameplay in a side-scrolling format with versatile combat options. This page continues the Amusement Machine Show report, showcasing more intriguing arcade titles. Data East's Trio the Punch is highlighted as a quirky fighting game with a strange atmosphere, perhaps a bit risky. Uprul's Task Force Harrier is presented as a solid, non-flashy side-scrolling shooter with good balance and graphics, suggesting it could become a notable game. Namco's highly anticipated 4Tracks is featured prominently, described as a compelling, 4-wheel buggy simulation with a focus on off-road racing. Its key innovation is the ability for up to 8 players to compete simultaneously using communication technology, promising massive popularity. Another Namco title, Burning Force, is also mentioned, despite being overshadowed by flashier cabinets. It's lauded as a great 3D shooting game split into 2 distinct sections, the first half on a motorcycle, and the second half featuring air combat in an airplane. The page also includes a general commentary on the future of games, noting the increasing popularity of puzzle and simulation genres, and the appearance of new concepts like joint developments between different industries. It touches on the varying quality of current shooting games, and shows images of diverse cabinets including a driving simulator and an air hockey-like game, hinting at broader arcade trends. This page details a large reader giveaway sponsored by BeepMD magazine, featuring various games and soundtracks as prizes. The main section showcases several popular Sega titles available as prizes, including the action game based on the Peacock King manga, The Revenge of Shinobi, the intense vertical shooter Truxton, and a mahjong game titled Mahjong Cop Ryu. Additionally, a gamebook titled Sanctuary of Darkness is also offered. Each game prize is limited to a few winners. The page also highlights a separate giveaway for soundtrack crids for various games, including Zero Wing, Caveman Ninja, Genshijima, Saint Dragon, and Legend of Hiro Tonama, along with the soundtrack for the film A Taxing Woman. These CD prizes are offered to 1 winner each. The central text block explains how readers can enter the contest using a postcard from page 112, emphasizing the deadline of December 8, 1989. For entries to arrive. The page serves as an exciting announcement of prizes for loyal readers. This page introduces a new manga series titled Legend of the Century's Knockoff Hero, Megadrama 9X. The first chapter, titled Painful, The Monster Army's Advance is Like the Sun, begins the story. The manga, based on an original concept by Kiyoshi Kyuchi and drawn by Suibu Hidaka, features a team dispatched by Sega to deal with a monster outbreak in Shinjuku. The panel introduces key characters from the Sega team, including Harrier, Kamata, Ito, and Ida, and a character named Nei, described as a bio-life form. As the team responds to the monster appearance, they encounter a strange vehicle that seems oddly drawn, and a large armored figure. This figure introduces itself as a Guess OHK alien, and reveals it has brought monsters from the Great Demon World Village. The page sets up a comedic battle between the Sega team and the aliens' monster horde, centered around the newly introduced armored hero, or alien character. This page continues the chaotic battle from the new manga series. the Sega team faces a magician monster that comically transforms some of the members into a duck and an old man. As the situation becomes dire, one of the team members, Ida, transforms into the hero MegaDrive 9X by inputting a specific command sequence on a controller, a clear nod to classic game cheat codes like the Konami code. MegaDrive 9X proves incredibly powerful, quickly defeating the monster horde with attacks like the 16-bit beam, referencing the Mega Drive's processing power. The page humorously wraps up the fight, with characters commenting on the absurdity of the manga itself. The bottom text announces this is a serialized work and promises even greater things next time. This page serves as an information hub for readers, announcing key changes and seeking valuable feedback. The magazine reveals it will transition to a bi-monthly publication starting in the new year, with the next issue hitting stands on January 8, 1990. There's a contact number provided for reader questions related to the magazine's content. They are also looking to recruit writers passionate about Mega Drive games and general articles, outlining the application process. The page features a vibrant, abstract illustration filled with musical elements like a guitar and microphone, set against a backdrop of cartoon faces and patterns, conveying a lively atmosphere. A list of the magazine's staff is also present. Crucially, there's a comprehensive questionnaire asking readers about their demographics, media consumption habits, how they discovered the magazine, and their opinions on Mega Drive games, including what titles they hope to see ported, and what they consider the best or worst games on the system. This shows the publication is actively engaging its audience to improve content and understand reader preferences. This page is a vibrant advertisement for the game Herzog Zwei by Technosoft. It prominently features a large blue transforming mecha, which is the player's unit, towering over a battlefield scene with tanks, soldiers, and explosions. Two inset screenshots showcase the game's top-down perspective gameplay, displaying the strategic map and units in action. The text highlights Herzog Zwei as the follow-up to the popular Thunder Force 2 MD, touting it as the industry's first real-time strategy action game that starts with 2-minute shooting gameplay. Key features emphasized are the real-time, full auto system, where player-commanded units react to combat, the abolition of turn-based and hex-based systems for faster, more realistic gameplay, and impressive graphics and clear sound. It promises a new genre born from the times, captivating all Genesis fans with its blend of shooting, action, and simulation. The page also states the game was released in December for 6,800 yen, excluding tax. The developer, Technosoft, is listed at the bottom. This page features striking artwork of the iconic ninja Joe Musashi, promoting the Sega Genesis classic, The Revenge of Shinobi, known as the Super Shinobi in Japan. The bold title translates to Illusionary Arts Appear, setting the stage for the game's intense ninja action. Screenshots showcase the side-scrolling gameplay with Joe Musashi in action, highlighting the impressive visuals and dynamic combat against various enemies, including the game's memorable boss fights. Below the main feature, there's a section dedicated to the challenging vertical shooter Tatsujin, known internationally as Truxton. It highlights its intense shooting mechanics and detailed graphics, showcasing a screenshot of the chaotic on-screen action. The page also briefly promotes the Sega Mega Drive hardware itself, emphasizing its 16-bit power for visual, speed, and sound shock. A list of upcoming Sega Genesis cartridge games is also teased, suggesting a strong lineup joining these highlighted titles. Overall, the page serves as a powerful advertisement, showcasing the Sega Mega Drive's graphical capabilities and exciting game library with two standout titles.